Folks, welcome to OnlineLessonVideos.com. I'm Ian Walsh, and today we're going to be working on a version of Pachelbel's Canon in D, played as a traditional Irish reel. So it's in the key of D, and I'll be breaking down this tune piece by piece, and we'll be focusing on triplets, rolls, grace notes, and double stops. So the whole works in this lesson video. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's kick off this lesson, Canon in D. Let's have a listen first to a little section we're going to break down note for note. Let's hear that again. And let's slow it down so we can really hear some of those notes. There's a roll in here that we're going to spend most of our time on in this section. Okay, so it starts off with an up bow, and if you're, refamiliarize yourself with the key of D, your scales, all your notes that are in the key of D, and also go ahead and listen to that, the first video, just the sample or the simple version of the tune, rather, and once you have that and the notes, we can get right into this, because we're really going to focus more on ornamentation and the variations today in this video. So anyway, the tune, as I'm playing it here, begins with an up bow and a slur, A, B, C, like that. And I'm using that up bow there, so I get a nice strong down bow for the D, the root note. So it starts off. So those notes after the D, C, D. And there I'm just walking up to the A in standard D scale, E, F, sharp, G, and A. And when we get to that A, we're going to have our first roll of the tune. There's going to be a lot more of these to come. So let's go over the A roll real quick. That's the third finger on the E string. All in one bow, I'm going to play these 5 notes together. A, B, A, the G in that sharp position right behind it, and then back to the A. So that's the roll. And then you have to start to change. So they're not all the notes are the exact same length, like that. They're not all the exact same. You want to make it a little bit longer in the beginning and quicker in the end. Up bow or down bow. And it's nice having the slowed down version. You can really hear the roll in there. So here it is again. Ending on the D. So after that roll, it's a B, A, F, E, D. Let's play it a few times together. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and play it with the slowed down version that we were listening to at the beginning of this clip. Let's do that one more time. And one more time. I'm going to use my bow a little bit more here. Up and then with that down bow in the beginning. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our next section of the tune. All right, so in the next section of the first part, we're going to start off with another roll. It's going to be a B roll right here. So your first finger on the A. So let's have a listen to the broken down section that we're going to work on. Let's hear it again. So that's pretty fast. Let's hear it a little bit slower. We can really pick out that roll. Okay, so there's two interesting things happening here, in my opinion, the way I'm playing it. First is the roll, which isn't that interesting. That's, like I said, a first finger roll. And then we have some notes after it. But when I'm coming down the scale, working through the melody, right there, I'm holding on to my note as I move down. So I change my bow, and it gives it kind of a muddied sound. Okay, so we'll work more on that when we get to it. Let's start off with the roll. B roll. After that you play C, D, C, D. So we're working our way up to the G, which is going to be the root for our next section. So we have the B roll, 2 and 3 and. And right there, I turn that delayed pull off into more of a grace note. Let's try it again. Also, my bowing here, I'm slurring some of these notes. When you play this tune up to speed, you're going to want to start slurring and using grace notes. The grace notes give the effect of bow changes, where you're not doing any, so you're slurring. And the slurring gives you the ability to play the tune rather fast. So the roll, 2 and 3 and. So you can see my bow is moving at about half the speed that my fingers are moving at. Let's hear it slow and play along with it a few times. Let's try that again. So the roll happens pretty quick there, but you can practice it on your own, practice it slow, and slowly start speeding up. It's also important to put in the notes around the roll. So in this case, we start with the roll, so you want to make sure when you do the roll, don't just, well, at first you want to just do the roll, but then slowly start adding in the notes after it, because that's really what it comes down to in Irish music, is not only just being able to play the roll, but putting it into your melody as you see fit. Let's do it one more time with the slowed down version. Okay, let's move on to the next section. Okay, so let's finish out the first time through the first part and with this next section. This is where we start on the G on our D string, and we're going to slowly work our way back up the scale to a D. There's going to be some rolls right away, first finger roll, and we're going to do a first finger roll on the E string, as well as that one's on the A string, and then a grace note at the end, and we'll end on a D. So let's hear what we're going to be working with. Let's hear that again. Okay, so 2 rolls, a grace note. Let's hear it slowly. You can really pick out the rolls. D. So this starts off G, F, G, and you work up your way up A into a B, and I like to slide into my first finger rolls, and we're going to play that B roll. Okay, and starting with a down bow should put you in about the right spot. After the roll, you continue upward. We play a C, and then we do more or less the same pattern here. Now the notes are different. You play C, D, E, F roll, but we're using that same pattern that we just played with. So you're going to slide into the first finger, and you're going to have to play this roll a little bit quicker. When you speed it up, you have to get it in there pretty quick. So let's just work on this section a few times. One more time. All right, and that's that quicker roll that you want to try to fit in there. And just so you know, there are other spots you can put in rolls if you feel like it. Instead of playing G, F, G in the beginning, you could make that a roll too. If you really want to fill the tune up with rolls, there's nothing wrong with that, if that's your style. So after that F, we play E, F, G. And we're going to grace the G at the end there. So the notes are E, F, G, E, F, G, F, E, D, C, D, E, F, G, E, C, E, D. So those are the notes, which pretty much follow that. If you watch the simple version of the tune that matches the written notes, you'll see that that's pretty much the exact same. But the grace note is the thing here to focus on. So that grace note happens off of the G. So you're playing a G on the E string. And it's a heavy grace note. So you can actually, instead of a whack, you can actually get a little bit of the note in there. And you go straight to an E after it. And you slur the bow. You really don't need to use any bow for practicing this. To get it, you barely have to use your bow at all. Kind of a big section. Let's play through it once more before we go back and play it with the slowed down version. I'll count us in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ending on the D. Let's play it one time slowly with the slowed down version from the beginning of the video. Try that one more time. Get ready. We're going to play a G first. Okay, so that's one time through the first part. Okay, so we're going to work now on the repeat of the first part as I played it in the sample. So we're gonna work with a bigger chunk here. That's going to take us halfway through the first part. So it's going to sound like a lot at first, but we already know some of the same things from the first time through. So the big change in this beginning is there's going to be, I play a variation right away, and I take out a roll right away. Let's have a listen to it. Let's have one more listen to that. Ending on that F. Let's hear it slowly. Okay, so you probably can already see there's a lot of similarities here. Let me point out some of the pieces that you might not have caught. This tune starts, or the repeat of the first part starts just like the tune starts. We started with that slurred up bow, ABC. So the only difference now, I'm getting a more edgier triplet by shifting my bowing. So that's the first change here. Now, it's up to yourself as a fiddle player if you want to keep it smooth or if you want to get crunchy. So from there, we already know our basic notes. But what I do right off the bat is as soon as I get to that D, I drop back down to my A and walk up again. Getting that triplet to work, you can come down to the bottom of your bow if you want to get some more crunch. So at this point we would normally do that high A roll, but instead we're going to walk up in that positioning. You can see a full step to the F, half step to the G, full step to the A. So as soon as we clear and we get up to the A, I'm going to bring that G up so I can have that sharp position to give me the... And that's the notes I'm playing instead of a roll. So far, we have from the get-go 1, 2, 3. Now from here, it matches pretty much the exact same as the first time through, the way we played it. We slide into a B roll. And you have that kind of delayed note. Okay, so let's play along slowly to what we have here. Let's try that again and get ready for that triplet. It's going to start on the A. Okay, now we're almost done with playing through the first parts. Okay, so we have the final section of the first part here before we're gonna get into the second part. This, everything is pretty much the same. We start off with a G, do that slide into the B roll, grace there. And we're going to do a delayed hammer-on for the end of this tune, so that's going to be a little different. Let's go ahead and hear what it sounds like. There's that hammer-on. Let's hear that one more time. There we go. Let's hear it slowly. Okay, so everything, like I said, is the same. Let's go ahead and go to the end of it here. I'm delaying that note. I'm also using some double stop here. If you can't see or hear what that is, it's a C sharp and an E. That's more or less creating an A double stop for you, or an A chord, and then the D. Now to make this perfectly in tune, you'd put an F behind it. That's how you're playing a D and an F. But I kind of like the dissonant sound of the D and the E, and actually that's the way I'm playing it in the video, so we'll stick to that. So the way I play at the end is C, E, D, but you play the C, E, and then back to the C, and you kind of let it bleed up to the D. A little hammer on there. Grace in the G there, that's one of those quick grace notes. That's more of a percussive smack. Let's play it slowly along with the slowed down version. Try it again. Remember, we're going to start G, F, G. Let's get in place. Okay, and that's kind of, again, having that open E still there is going to put us in place to get into the second part. We're going to start the second part off with an open E pickup note. All right, let's take a look at the second part. This is a lot of fun to play, one of my favorite parts of the tune. Now the bowing in this is just standard up-down bowing. You might find you like some slur pattern more, but more or less it's just a... And I'm just using, obviously, open E and open A. We're not going to throw the finger in yet. But if you want to just practice, you can move up half steps and choose the E string and start... just to get used to that bowing pattern. You want that smooth bowing. Let's have a listen to what we're going to be playing. We'll hear it fast, like we've been doing, and then we'll slow it down, and we'll move pretty quickly through this, I think. Let's hear that again. Okay, one more time, slowly. Okay, so if you haven't already moved ahead of me here, I'll show you what I'm doing there. I'm using an E pickup note, so if I was counting it, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. And I go straight to that F, slide up to it, and then over to my D. This first little series of notes can be the trickiest because you're going to have to play a fifth, and that would be from the D to the A. So you want to have your fingers, if you can, pancaked on the D and the A at the same time. It can be tough to make that sound in tune sometimes. But the notes here are E, F, D, A, D. Okay, and you see me, I'm not even perfectly getting it on there. Sometimes I'll rock my hand a little bit so I can make sure I get that nice strong A note there. Yep, so you'll figure it out if you play it slowly a few times. Okay, you can see my bow hand is moving in that same pattern over and over again. Where it moves after that is a little bit easier of a formation. This is the A formation. So we play E, open E, to a C sharp, and then to the A again. So we've been coming back to that high A. So again, just work on this little series of notes. Let's try it. And let's put the two of them together as they should be played. So I think of it as twice for each one. Once, twice. Then we switch. It's once, twice. Okay, let's play it slowly a few times. 2, 3. One, 2, 3. Let's play it along with the slowed down version that you heard at the beginning of the video. Try it again, get ready on that open E. Okay, let's try it one more time. Get ready on that open E. Okay, let's move on. So in this next section, we're going to continue with this downward movement of the scale. We started with D, A. Now we're going to find this B minor position, a D, D, B, and an F. Let's have a listen to what we're going to be working on. Nice and short. Let's hear it one more time. Okay, we'll play it slowly at the end of this little clip here. So these notes, we can get through this pretty quickly. You're going to use that same smooth bowing pattern, and we're going to play D, B, F, B. So again, you're going to have to use fifths here. This one's a little bit easier though, your first finger. And you don't have to lift. So let's just play that a few times. Good. Okay, so the bowing hand, nothing really changed there. So you play it twice, and then we play these notes, which you already know, A, B, A, F, G. And then again at the end, walking up D, E, F. And we're going to, when we get to it, we're going to move quickly through the second half of this second part because it's the same that is played in the first part with a few variations, rolls and such, and grace notes. So let's take a look what we have for this section before we play along slowly with it. 1 and 2 and. One more time. 1 and 2 and. Okay, let's play along slowly to the version of me playing at the beginning. So that matches up note for note. Let's do it a few more times slowly. Let's try it one more time. I was a little behind it there. So I'm going to get ready on the D. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so we're about to work on the end of the second part here, and we haven't even gotten to the repeat of the second part yet. But we're getting the majority of the rolls and grace notes down so far. Let's have a listen to this section. It's a section you should already be familiar with. Okay, and you hear that slurred, delayed note at the end, that hammer on. Let's hear it again. And again, that's going to be there at the end, getting us ready to repeat the second part. So we can move through this pretty quickly. I'll assume you still remember these notes from the first time we went through them. We start on that G, F, G, slide into a B roll, continue up and slide into that F roll, that's how we get that ending. Okay, let's play it with the video or with the audio slowed down. Let's try it again. Now be ready to start on the G, F, G. Let's do it one more time. Okay, so we're going to get into the repeat of the second part now. Okay, so in the version I played for you in the beginning of this lesson, I repeat the second part in this time around, the first time around, almost exactly the same as we just learned it. So it starts off E pickup note. And we're going to rest there. Let's go ahead and listen to what we're going to go through. Okay, and there is a little bit something there at the end. You hear more of that grace note. It almost starts to sound like a roll. Okay, but for the most part, we know all this, so let's just hear it slowed down and play along with it a few times. We're going to start up on the open E. Ending on the F. Let's do that again. And let's go through it one more time. Okay, let's move on in this next section and we'll get the final bits of the first time through the tune. Okay, so we're going to finish off the tune, and this is that same part that keeps getting played over and over again. This is in G. The G would be the chord that's being played over this. So we're not going to use that delayed hammer-on slur note here. We're just going to play it straight. That'll be the one difference here. Okay, let's have a listen to it, see what we're working with. Okay, ending on the D. So at this point, let's go back over everything that we've learned and just review everything, for the most part, note for note. Okay, so we've made it through the tune one time. Let's go back to the beginning, and we're going to play through slowly, trying to remember the variations that I've put into it. And I'm going to do my best to try to remember them too. So we'll start off with that up bow slurred on the A string, A, B, C. Like that, and then the down bow, the D. And we have that A roll. So let's play it together. I'll count us in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to continue on into the repeat of the tune, and we're going to move a lot quicker now since we've learned a lot of the standard ornamentations that I'm putting in there, such as the rolls. But there's going to be one new one in this section, and that's going to be the rolled triplet, as I call it. So it's more or less a roll, or it takes up the same space as a roll, only you're not using your left hand to get the sounds. We're going to use more of our bow hand. That'll come up on the G note a little bit later. Let's have a listen to one time through the first part here. Okay, let's hear it one more time. Okay, so I can take you through it right now, and we'll play it slowly at the end of this little section here. But one thing that changes, the triplet, we're using that, what I call the aggressive triplet now, not the slur. And that's what I'm doing now. Instead of just leaving the bow on, I'm lifting it off and getting... And that's going to be the same, that roll there. But if we slow that down, it's the triplet. And then I let the bow come crashing down, and I hit the... At first it just touches the D string to the left of my fingered note here, the A. So I go... And you can hear it ringing out even now. So that's how I'm getting that. Here we have another change, a little something different. So the notes here are that all you're doing with your left hand is playing G, F, G, like that, or without the bow. With the bow, we play, so we get two of the G's, an F, and a G. Okay, not too tricky. You want to play that slow and build up. Okay. After this, I'm not using the roll anymore for the notes coming after the A, B, A, B. I'm just gracing. Every time my B hits, I'm letting the top finger come down and grace on top of it. So this section is... And you know the notes after this. Ending there on the D. So let's play along with it slowly. We'll do it a couple times so you can get a hang of it. Remember, we're going to start off with that triplet on the A. Here we go. Do that again, nice and slow. We're going to start off with that triplet, and then let that open D ring out. Here we go. Alright, let's go into the repeat of the first part. We'll move through it pretty quickly. Okay, so the repeat of the first part, second time through the tune. We're going to go through it now. I'm going to give you the heads up before we listen to it here. There's not too many changes happening, except a little bit more of a drone halfway through, and I'm using these octave notes a little bit more. So when we play, we get up to that A there, the fingered A on the E string, you realize that you have your open A below it. So what I do right in the beginning of this, I play, instead of, or a roll, I play A. It has a nice effect. Continuing on. When we get to that section, I do a hammer on. So that's all one bow movement, but I'm letting my fingers do the work. F, G. Getting into the second part, you're going to hear a heavy D at the end there, so I'm adding more to the pickup instead of just E. I'm going to play D, E, and give us a nice heavy intro. Let's hear this fast, played up to speed, and then we'll hear it slowed down. Again, you hear that heavy D at the end. Let's go ahead and slow it down, and you're going to hear, really we're just going to focus on two things here. And then getting that open G to ring out. Getting ahead of ourselves. So slowly without the music, I'm just going to show you at that slow pace. We start off 1, 2, 3. We should really save that at the end. That's how we're going to kick off the second part with the... Okay, and we'll have a variation to go right there too. So let's play along one more time slowly with the version from the beginning of the lesson. Get ready for that. Okay, I think we're ready to move into the second part. Okay, so we're moving into the second part again, and there's a nice variation I play here. Instead of going to the high A, I'm basically just going to go to the middle A. So all the notes remain the same just to look at them, but the octave is changing. It's a little bit easier on your fingers in the formation too. F, D, A, D. Then you continue on in that same pattern. Now for our section where we normally play, all we're going to do is take that high F sharp and play the middle one, or down on our D string. And everything else here is pretty much the same. We're going to use that rolled triplet. Okay, then you'll hear, we're going to listen to it now, sped up, and we'll kind of hear what we're going for, and then we'll hear it slowed down. But this, we start off with a nice attack. So, we'll have a listen to it. Okay, let's go ahead and play with it slowly. Really the only thing you need to familiarize yourself with now is, instead of, you're going to go to that low A. Okay, so let's play with it slowly. Here we go. again, nice and slow. Remember, we're starting with that D. Now I'm getting both my Ds to ring out there. Here we go. So we'll have one more section here, which is the repeat of the second part the second time through the tune. Okay, so this is the last section of the tune, last time through the second part. So I do things a little bit differently, but nothing that we haven't seen before, really. I am going to do something towards the end where I make the G shape, which is a B on the A string, a G on the E string. Go ahead and play those two together, make sure they're in tune. And what I'm doing is starting on the low G with a low bow down here close to my hand. I'm going to pull across all the strings while holding that G formation. So that's going to come up in the end here. It's kind of one of the changes. And it's setting me up for, I like to change things up a little bit when I'm going to end a tune. So there's a pause or a rest maybe, you know, about a measure out from the end of the tune. So you'll hear it. Let's go ahead and have a listen to the sped up version of what you heard in the beginning of the video. Okay, let's listen to that one more time. I'm going to play along with it. You can see my fingers moving. I won't bow it. So there's some new notes to start us off. So far for the second part we used pickup notes, just an E to get into it. We also used the D, E. Now we're going to play some new notes. We're going to go up higher than the F, which is our root note to start on, and we're going to play. Now to fit this in, you have to think back to the end of the second part before you play the repeat. So that would be. So all these notes get really connected together. There's no time for a rest or a pause. So that's the first change there, nothing too complicated. G, F, E. And then we play our downbeat, the F. And we're back to the standard version here that I taught in the beginning. So here I'm just going to play G, F, G. There's that roll that we slide into. When I get up to the D, C, D, I'm going to use that triplet again. When I get to that F, I'm going to abruptly stop. So that whole section is. One more time. Okay, and that stop is abrupt because you want to alert yourself or whoever to the end of the tune. So you come out of that, we're going to roll across the strings into that G shape. It's easier if you do this if you make the G shape first. That's how we normally end it, but I continue there. There's a little extra at the end, and I just do an arpeggio backwards from the D. And then ending with a nice double stop, the D and the A. So if I play through all that slowly, it's 1, 2, 3. again slowly, and then we'll play along with the audio. 1, 2, 3. Nice long bow to end it. So we'll take the section of the end of the tune here, we'll slow it down, we'll play along with it twice, and we'll try to match everything note for note. Let's go ahead and play one more time slowly. Remember, we're going to start on this G, so let's get ready there on the E string. All right, folks, that concludes our lesson on Canon and D today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have fun playing it. It's a great session tune. So until next time, keep checking out the site, onlinelessonvideos.com, for the new videos. I'll see you then.